I've started sleepwalking. I do things in my sleep that I can't take back.
I've started sleepwalking. I do things in my sleep that I can take back.
Oh my. When I first started sleepwalking, my wife mostly found it funny. She stays up much later than I do in the evenings. Apparently, started finding my way to her home office just down the hall from our bedroom. If I can't even remember these encounters at all, then it's only ever in hazy snippets.
You flirt with me.
I didn't like to hear this. I didn't like to hear this because to me, it was like someone else inside my body. From my perspective, something weird and embarrassing was happening to us both on these nights.
What do I say?
I insisted.
It's just gibberish. But your body language is definitely like you're trying to be really smooth. You're trying to talk me up.
She answered and then laughed.
If it happens again, please wake me or take me back to bed.
I insisted.
Babe, I promise it's okay. It's cute and it's harmless.
My wife smiled. She wouldn't feel this way for long. I tried some home remedies at first. I maintained good sleep hygiene and abstained from alcohol. Nothing worked, though, and so I became frustrated. It got bad enough that I started using the terry cloth sash from my bathrobe to tie myself to our bed frame. It sounds silly, but it worked. At least, for a while. I would double knot the sash around my right ankle. The other end was wrapped securely around the leg of the metal bedpost. If I tried to leave the mattress, I'd have to carefully undo the knots to free myself. That was fine because I would wake up as my brain struggled to find the knot's weak spot. Things became disturbing when my sleepwalking body discovered a new way to get free. I can only remember the end of the event. My wife's fearful face broke through the reverie, and I felt a sense of deep shame. That's what woke me up. She says that I tried to flirt with her once again, but this time I was carrying scissors in my hand. I would corner her in her office, and she could do nothing but pray. I decided to leave her alone. I didn't seem aware I was holding anything. When her fearful expression stirred me awake, we returned to the bedroom, and it became clear what had happened. My wife whispered with some astonishment the following words.
You roll out of bed and onto the floor. You were still connected by your ankle. You must have reached into my Zulu dresser, searched through it, and found scissors to cut yourself free.
She pointed at the severed rope sash trailing from the bed frame's leg. Indeed, around my ankle remained the other knotted half of the rope sash. My wife and I talked earnestly about our concerns the next day.
I hate that I do it. Can you please just shake me awake as soon as I bother you?
You were carrying scissors. Anything might have happened. Haven't you heard about never trying to wake a sleepwalker? And what if you became violent?
I know. I've heard that before too, but look, I woke up randomly last night and nothing bad happened. It's the same as when I tried to untie my ankle. I never lashed out. I think you should wake me. The dangerous part is when I'm still asleep.
I said. I said, and I felt intensely guilty.
I'll try it, but please make an appointment with a doctor right now.
She finally agreed.
I will. I promise.
I nodded. I nodded. She was right. The home remedies clearly weren't enough. I made an appointment with a sleep clinic for the soonest possible date. It was 2 weeks away. We moved all sharp objects out of reach from the bed, and I bought a new piece of fabric to restrain my ankle as we had done before. And I bought a new piece of fabric to restrain my ankle as we had done before. I hoped it would be enough until my appointment arrived. The worst part of sleepwalking is that I genuinely don't remember anything until my mind starts to awaken. Sometimes this occurs in response to a stimulus, and sometimes it doesn't happen at all. Each episode usually results in a vague but humiliating memory of my wife either laughing at me or looking very afraid. Sometimes I don't remember anything at all. My only clue is when someone tells me or I notice something has changed. On the night before my sleep clinic appointment, I went to bed and woke up feeling completely normal. There were no new memories. Abruptly, I realized I had gone to bed in pajamas, but I was now wearing only underwear. When I inspected my body, I found several deep bruises in my arms. There was also a bad friction burn on my ankle. Something serious just happened. It was early on Sunday morning, so I sat alone and I worried while I waited for my wife to wake up naturally. I didn't want to disturb her rest any more than I already had. I felt an awful sort of trepidation. I badly wanted to ask what happened, but I was also dreadfully afraid to actually know it. When my wife finally awoke, she seemed very strangely shy. She wasn't angry, but she also didn't want to talk to me at all.
Please, honey. I need to know what's worse than usual. How do I get my ankle free from the bed?
You don't remember anything? Usually, you at least remember how it ends.
I'm so sorry. I didn't even know anything happened until I realized my pajamas were gone.
I felt tears welling in my eyes.
Well, if you don't remember, then I don't want to talk about it at all. Let's just forget it entirely. I'm just glad you're going to the line. Hmm? Well, if you don't remember, then I don't want to talk about it at all. Let's just forget it entirely. I'm just glad you're going to the line.
And she wouldn't budge, and the tension between us lasted all day. That was the only thing my wife would say to me. She would repeat it whenever I tried to engage her. was an overnight stay at the sleeping clinic. They prepared a cozy and safely furnished bedroom from which to monitor me, in addition to tracking my vitals. There would also be a video recording for us to review it in the morning, behind a one-way mirror. A sole technician would watch to ensure that I didn't hurt myself or do anything dangerous. I awoke the next morning with only one faint new memory. I remember standing in front of the one-way mirror and tracking the dim shape of a person behind the glass with my eyes. The technician confirmed that I watched him carefully and shifted my gaze whenever he moved. My memory of that only lasted a few seconds, but the video showed there was much more to it. The footage showed everything. I sat up in my bed around midnight, then worked dutifully at the knot around my ankle. Sometimes it takes me about 45 seconds to untie myself when I'm already awake. But that night, I stared and worked blindly at it for more than 13 minutes, with patient, random tucks at the outside of the knot. I set myself free. Now, standing, I walked directly to the one-way mirror. I got close enough that I was nearly pressing my nose against it. That's when I began tracking the technician with my eyes as the faint shadow of his body moved behind the tinted glass. Now standing, I walked directly to the one-way mirror. I got close enough that I was nearly pressing my nose against it. That's when I began tracking the technician with my eyes as the faint shadow of his body moved behind the tinted glass. I stood and I stared for 3.5 hours, then returned to bed. I only spoke at the end, just before I swayed to turn my back on the technician. I spoke a few lines of gibberish. After that, I started humming loudly. The tune was just the two of us, that old song from the 80s. The camera caught my face twisting itself in a very sinister smile. As I did so, I lowered myself back to bed and I called out loudly,
Just so lucky I can catch you. Just so lucky I can catch you.
"What in the actual fuck?"
What the fuck? I've never threatened anyone in my life. I'm terrible at even pretending to be intimidating when awake.
Now I'm staring down strangers and meditating on how they've been left alone with me. Why would I say that my forced isolation was lucky for the technician? What the hell was I planning? Oh my, the doctors wrote me a prescription that really helped. And I honestly thought that was the end of my story. I took one pill at the end of each evening, and they never failed to put me in a deep and uneventful sleep. There were no more weird nights or awkward discoveries in the morning. My wife even started to trust me the way she used to. She would laugh and would grin when we talked again. It was such a relief. We had had a rough patch, but now it seemed to be behind us.
Maybe we should crack a few beers. Or we could open a bottle of wine. No more sleepwalking means we can enjoy a few drinks together again.
My wife told me as we sat down to dinner last night. Her friendly smile made my heart feel safe. My wife shot me a playful look and grabbed a corkscrew. It was true. I had missed drinking a bit. I agreed and we drank and laughed while eating our meal. It was a lovely evening, but my tolerance for alcohol was low. I had accidentally gotten myself drunk by the end of the night. I collapsed onto our bed, completely forgetting to take my pill and tie my ankle to the bed frame.
What? Huh? What? What? Honey, what's happening? What are you doing? Huh? What? What? Honey, what's happening? What are you doing? No, stop! Stop! Put that down! Stop! Let me go.
I awoke this morning with no new memories. The only clues that I've been sleepwalking are the things that have changed. My wife isn't in bed beside me. I search my mind, but I find absolutely no clues. The last night was a perfect blackout. Looking down, I see the crimson fingernail scratches all over my arms and chest. I touch my face and find more deep abrasions there too. My neck is bleeding slightly, and there's an aching tenderness in my right eye. I must have been struck hard in the face at least once. Someone was struggling to make me let go of them, and that struggle seems to have lasted for a long while before it ended. It's 7 a.m., and my wife isn't asleep in the bed next to me. In the back of my head is a feeling that I can almost taste in my mouth. A sour flood of terror and shame runs a circuit through my whole body. I realize whatever I did is already done. There's no stopping it, and no taking it back. That awful sort of trepidation returns. I want to ask, what happened? But I'm also dreadfully afraid to actually know. The only words I can think of now are,
What the fuck?
Oh my god. What did I do?
This time, though, I think I can guess. I've shouted her name several times, loud enough that anyone in the house should be able to hear it. I'm too paralyzed by fear to open the door and leave the bedroom. Every second before the terrible answer becomes one more second of blissful ignorance. Please, God, tell me I'm still dreaming.
Please, God, tell me I'm still dreaming! Tell me I'm still dreaming!